All right, more on this breaking story. Attorney General Merrick Garland naming Delaware U.S. Attorney David Weiss as special counsel to the Hunter Biden investigation. Weiss has been investigating Hunter since 2019, and he just recently was accused by two IRS whistleblowers of trying to thwart the investigation into Hunter Biden's taxes, the ones he didn't claim on his tax returns, as well as avoiding any potential leads to President Biden. And what else happened today? Well, Hunter Biden's plea deal fell apart in a court filing. David Weiss says, quote, following additional negotiations after a hearing held on July 26, 2023, the parties are at an impasse and are not in agreement on either a plea agreement or a diversion agreement. Prosecutors now expect the case to go to court and trial. So what does the former president think about all of this? Let's welcome in now senior advisor to former President Donald Trump, Jason Miller. He joins us in studio. Jason, great to see you.
John, good to see you.
Did you have a chance to talk to President Trump about this today?
I did, and I don't want to get ahead of the president. I want to let him come out in his timing and make his own comments. But I think taking a look at this appointment of David Weiss stinks. David Weiss is someone who sat on his hands for years, allowed multiple alleged crimes, their statute of limitations, to expire out. David Weiss is someone who signed off on the sweetheart deal for Hunter that fell apart, the plea deal. And so I don't know. Look, maybe it'll be another 4 or 5 years until Weiss actually comes forward with something. We don't know. But I do want to make sure that my Republican brethren, people who are frustrated and say this is all fixed and it's cooked, don't lose sight of the big prize here. The fact that a special counsel has now been appointed is a direct acknowledgement that Hunter Biden did something wrong. Why does this matter? Because Joe Biden stood on that debate stage and said, my son Hunter did nothing wrong. We now know that Joe Biden lied about that. He lied about the meetings. He's lied about everything. And as this special counsel moves forward, it's an acknowledgement, no, Joe Biden, you're lying, did something wrong. In fact, this special counsel, I think, is going to stick to the Bidens like a kick me sign all the way through the 2024 election.
How does President Trump feel about possible impeachment for Merrick Garland, for Joe Biden? Does he think it's an important step?
Well, he said that we need to look into it. He said that with Eric Bolling right here on Newsmax just the other day. And as these alleged crimes come forward, as it's very clear that Joe Biden has lied over and over, President Trump does think that something needs to be looked into. He hasn't given a full declaration that he supports impeachment, but we're getting there. You know, another thing with this special counsel appointment, you never quite know whether it's a special counsel or independent counsel where they're going to end up. The Durham report basically was a tree falling in a forest. Nothing happened. Years went by. It was pretty minimal. But you take, say, Ken Starr, who was the independent counsel, that started off on the mysterious death of Vince Foster and ended up with Monica Lewinsky. Once they start pulling at the strings on this, especially with Hunter and Joe and Frank and James, who knows where this thing goes?
So bottom line, you say, don't get so outraged about this yet. It is an important step forward, and you welcome this step.
I'm saying it's an important step. I am saying that it stinks.
Yeah.
There's something up here. I don't think that the Bidens are necessarily too bummed out about this, but nobody wants a special counsel created like this, again, because it's an acknowledgement that Joe Biden lied when he said Hunter did nothing wrong.
And you hate to play this game, but sometimes you have to, based on what we've seen historically from the press and from Democrats. Can you imagine if the shoe were on the other foot and Donald Trump's Justice Department did something like this for one of his children?
Oh, they would say that this is outrageous. They'd be moving to impeach the Attorney General. They'd be moving to impeach, well, they already did try to impeach President Trump twice, so maybe they'd go for a third impeachment. Why would they stop now? But no, the Democrats would be screaming bloody murder, absolutely. And so I think Republicans are right to criticize this move, but I think Democrats, don't get too cocky. This can get real ugly for you quick.
All right, President Trump is headed to Iowa tomorrow. I know you don't like to get ahead of him, and I know he works on these speeches like as you're literally on the plane flying to the location, but give us a preview of how this is going to be incorporated in his stump speech tomorrow.
Well, I think you're going to hear this both when he's giving remarks and pretty much going forward, especially, like I said, because now we know that the Bidens, it's very clear that we're lying. Hunter did something wrong. We're going to get into it. But what President Trump is doing with the Iowa State Fair, he's bringing virtually the entire Republican delegation from Florida with him. There may or may not be another candidate from Florida who's in this race, except that all of the congressional candidates have endorsed President Trump. So we're coming in with Byron Donalds and Matt Gaetz and Carlos Jimenez and a whole bunch of other good folks. They're really going to send a signal that when talk about who can unify the Republican Party to beat Joe Biden, it's President Trump.
All right, we will be watching, and of course, we're going to head out to the Iowa State Fair for an update on what's going on. Jason, great to see you. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.